Le Vendée Globe, c'est tellement beau qu'on est subjugué par ça.
Le Vendée Globe, c'est quelqu'un qui a le vertige et qui va se mettre au bord d'un précipice.
The start of the Vendée Globe can be divided into 3 parts. Together, they form an incredible, unforgettable sight. There are those who have been here before, who look very serious, knowing where they're going.
C'est une émotion toujours intacte parce que ça reste vraiment quelque chose de particulier que de partir comme ça de longs mois en mer, de quitter tout le monde.
So what about the rookies, who were warned, but cannot withstand the onslaught of emotions?
Je pense que c'est le plus beau jour de ma vie, il n'y a pas de mots pour expliquer ça. C'est un rêve, c'est un défi qu'on s'est lancé et c'est une énorme fierté d'être là aujourd'hui et de voir tout ce monde sur le ponton et je suis vraiment très très honoré d'être là.
The harbor entrance channel, for those leaving, the moment of release, for those staying, the fervor mounts. They have come from near and far. They say there were 350,000. For all those ashore, the journey is in their minds. But just as for those that they are cheering on, there's a long way to go. At 12:02 UTC precisely, Prince Albert of Monaco signals the start. 29 competitors representing 10 different nationalities set off from Les Sables d'Olonne. Unprecedented in the history of the race. It all starts and should all end here.
On va ouvrir la partie. Ah, dans 3 mois. 3 mois. Ah la vache. C'est le début, mais c'est bien parti. Nous, tout va bien pour l'instant, donc on profite.
Armel Leclerc took the lead in the race where there had been 6 different front-runners since the start. The pace of the first few days offered no rest for any of the fleet, which now has to deal with the famous Azores High.
Magnifique. Et c'est pas un trucage, hein, c'est un vrai de vrai. C'est top, non?
At the end of the first week, we could be pleased to see that all 29 competitors were still racing. That is, until...
Le mât s'est cassé, donc...
The Vendée Globe is unfortunately over for Tanguy de la Motte and Initiative Coeur. On the 7th day, Armel Leclerc is still out in front. In spite of a risky option along the coast of Portugal where he lost a lot of ground, Alex Thompson made his way out in the lead and is on the fast track to the equator, the first symbolic mark, before which they have to deal with the doldrums. This is where the trade winds in the northern hemisphere meet those in the southern hemisphere, an area of huge contrast in the weather, and you can feel the tension in the air.
T'as une champ de bataille. Eh bien, un poteau noir, hein. Des putains de nuages. Faut pas se faire surprendre.
At the front of the fleet, in the most uncomfortable conditions imaginable, the foilers are at breakneck speed, clocking up 400 miles a day.
J'ai un peu l'impression d'être d'abord un vaisseau spatial avec beaucoup d'humidité et malheureusement aussi à l'intérieur.
The risk at such high speeds is that the slightest shock can lead to severe damage. On the 13th day of the race, no room for superstition here, Alex Thompson experienced just that.
Yesterday morning, I was dozing when there was an almighty bang. The boat turned hard to starboard. I realized that the foil had broken, the starboard foil had broken.
This is the start of a gloomy week. On the very same 13th day, Bertrand de Broc announced he was retiring with damage to his hull. And then, like 4 years ago, almost to the day, Vincent Rioux had to quit.
Moi, j'ai une grosse déception personnelle sur cet abandon. Mais il faut imaginer tous les gens qu'on amène avec nous sur cette aventure. C'est lourd à porter.
A little later, Morgan Lagravière, who had been having a good race until then, added his name to the list of skippers retiring. A plank of wood, a container, or a marine mammal, the starboard rudder on his boat did not withstand the shock. On November 24th, it was confirmed that this was the fastest voyage down the Atlantic in the history of the Vendée Globe. After 17 days and 22 hours, Alex Thompson crossed the longitude of the Cape of Good Hope. That was 5 days less than Armel Leclerc in 2012. Around 100 miles further back, Leclerc is on the warpath. Sébastien Josse, third already almost 600 miles behind, is chasing after Thompson and Leclerc.
La visibilité s'améliore. Ça se réchauffe pas pour autant, mais en route vers Kerguelen.
The French islands of the Southern Ocean and the Antarctic. The Kerguelens are located in the south of the Indian Ocean. On November 30th, after Armel Leclerc regained the lead a few days earlier, a French Navy helicopter flew over as he passed northwest of the islands. This is the first time in the history of the Vendée Globe that aerial shots have been taken in this part of the world.
Bonjour à tout l'équipage à Nivos. C'est un plaisir d'entendre du monde comme ça à la VHF et d'avoir des camarades français ici en plein milieu de l'océan Indien, ça fait plaisir.
45 minutes later, it is Alex Thompson's turn to be filmed. We're now into a part of the race where sailing conditions get tougher for the whole fleet. The equipment is put under a lot of pressure, as are the sailors, who have to keep up an incredible pace with tiredness creeping up on them.
Man, if you thought you were having a bad day, just look at mine.
Fortunately, the New Zealander was able to straighten things out. Not very far from him, a mast broke and dreams were shattered. Kojiro Shiraishi, the first Asian competitor to take part in the Vendée Globe, would not finish the race. Not this time at any rate. Sébastien Josse was sailing in 40 knots of wind and in 6-7 meters high waves. His boat slammed into a wave and the impact seriously damaged his port foil. The skipper of Edmond the Rothschild decided to retire. On the morning of December 6th, in the middle of the fleet, it was Quito de Pavon's turn to suffer serious damage. His boat experienced a huge shock that did a lot of damage to his keel. More than half the fleet is still sailing, heading for the Southern Ocean, the real one which stretches right out. Its chaotic seas, its nasty breakers, and there, they all suffer in the same way.
It's 4 degrees centigrade in the cockpit.
Wow. I do wonder why I do it sometimes.
On the 37th day, with the first 4 boats already in the Pacific, a new storm is forming.
Ça va m'arriver vite dessus, il va falloir vraiment que je descende les voiles hyper vite. Ça va pas être évident, donc un peu stressé quand même.
80 miles per hour gusts, 20-25 feet high waves. They were right to be wary.
47 nœuds. Waouh. Avec de la grêle. Allez mon pépère.
Almost 2,500 miles ahead, Armel Leclerc was still leading the way. His lead over Alex Thompson was increasing day after day. On December 16th, Armel Leclerc is more than 400 miles ahead of Alex Thompson. Thomas Ruillon, his first attempt, was in a fine 8th place before he collided with what appears to have been a container.
La violence du choc. Ça se termine de cette façon-là, moi j'en ai eu des galères. Hein. Alors celle-là, celle-là, je la souhaite vraiment à personne.
On the previous evening, 700 miles south of Australia, while in 10th place in the rankings, Stéphane Le Diraison's boat was dismasted. Under jury rig, he headed for Melbourne at slow speed. Still in the Indian Ocean at the rear of the fleet, they were dealing with lows and transitions. Each of them, in their own way, could see how far they had come. Éric Bellion did not know how to thank his boat for bringing him all the way to Cape Lewin.
Tellement de la chance d'avoir ce beau bateau. Il a une force en lui extraordinaire. Il a qu'une envie, c'est de terminer ce Vendée Globe.
Michel Desjoyaux, il y a 1 an et demi, il m'avait dit tu vas voir le Vendée, c'est 1 emmerde par jour. Eh ben je confirme. Mais bon, je relativise. On est encore dans la partie pour faire le tour du monde et aller jusqu'au sable. Il y en a plein qui n'ont pas cette chance.
Très mauvaise nouvelle aujourd'hui. J'ai entendu un gros bang. Je me suis rendu compte que le vérin était fissuré. Et donc du coup c'est pas réparable. J'ai accroché la quille pour pas qu'elle se balade partout. Et voilà, j'espère que ça va tenir.
Paul Meillat won't be completing his first Vendée Globe either. Since the end of the Indian Ocean and all the way across the Pacific, Armel Leclerc has found the perfect route and positioning.
23 décembre 2016. Et le Cap Horn.
47 days at sea and looking after himself well to get to the end of the world's biggest ocean and at the same time shave more than 5 days off the reference time set by François Gabard in 2012. Sunday, December 25th, it's Christmas and Alex Thompson has given himself 2 nice presents, rounding the horn at high speed and narrowing the gap to the leader. In 48 hours, he has regained almost 400 miles from Armel Leclerc. That deserves a nice song.
Jingle bells, Alex sails, around the world he goes. Single-handed breaking records, he's no twinkle toes. No! Jingle bells, Alex sails, so much sea to cross. Oh, what fun it is to sail on the mighty Hugo Boss. Happy Christmas, everyone.
Quand tu descendras du ciel avec des jouets par milliers.
After just over 60 days, Armel Leclerc crosses the equator once again, just around 24 hours ahead of Alex Thompson. Alex Thompson is back to within 65 miles of Armel Leclerc. But when the Breton finally managed to get out of the doldrums, he found some more wind and left the British sailor 250 miles behind. After the Azores, conditions saw them start a drag race where speed was everything and this favored Hugo Boss. Clearly, she was the fastest boat in the fleet.
Boat's on fire. They're going fast, currently 26, new 24-hour record. Woo!
After more than 24,000 miles of racing, the final sprint is underway. The 2 skippers crossed the latitude of Les Sables d'Olonne, but they could not take the direct route home. They had to get around a patch where there was no wind and only turn back down at the entrance to the English Channel. On January 18th, 35 miles separating the 2 skippers as they reach a key moment in the 8th Vendée Globe. On the morning of January 19th, under cold wintry skies off Belle-Île, Armel Leclerc made his final getaway from Alex Thompson. Victory was to be his. With Les Sables d'Olonne in sight, dozens of boats came out to greet the exceptional sailor who had performed so magnificently. On Thursday, January 19th, at 15:37 UTC, Armel Leclerc won the 8th Vendée Globe. Armel has shaved almost 4 days off the reference time set by François Gabard in the previous edition. Second in 2009, second in 2013, the Breton has finally made it to the top after the adventure began for him almost 10 years ago.
Je voulais tellement cette victoire. Voilà, j'ai réussi.
Armel left the harbor as the favorite. He re-entered as the overall winner. People often say that to have a great winner, you need a great runner-up. Alex Thompson was more than that. 16 hours later, the British skipper completed his Vendée Globe.
It's finished, it's over, and the race is as it is, so I'm very happy to be in second place, and you know, maybe next time it'll be one better.
Avec ces soucis-là, d'arriver à faire 3e, c'est génial.
On attend des combats, on attend d'être tout seul sur l'océan, c'est pas très motivant.
Faire le tour du monde sur ces machines-là tout seul, c'est un truc de malade. J'ai jamais eu aussi peur de ma vie, j'ai jamais autant souffert de ma vie, jamais pris autant de plaisir de ma vie, j'ai jamais été aussi créatif, jamais trouvé autant de ressources. C'est l'aventure ultime.
Qui est rentré.
Le Vendée Globe, c'est essayer de survivre déjà.
La personne que j'étais quand je coupais la ligne de départ n'était pas capable à terminer ce Vendée Globe.